So you've heard about medical billing as a dentist or for your dental practice, and you want to figure this thing out. Well, we're going to get right into it. How to get paid checks like this at your dental practice for patients that you see every day. And yes, this is money that you have always should have been making or money that you left on the table. And we're going to get right into exactly how to do this, how it works, and why this is the number one most important thing for dental practice to be doing in 2024 and beyond. So, why medical billing? You've probably heard about it if you've been in dentistry for any period of time. By statistic, a lot of dentists aren't doing medical billing yet. About 97% of dentists still aren't credentialed. And you'll find out that that is the first step that you need to do in order to send medical claims. Just like if you wanted to play football, you got to at least be on the playing field. Just like for dentistry, everybody knows about an NPI and registering with the state. But as a doctor, in any category, before you ever see and treat patients, you should also register with the federal government in the land of the US. It's just something that dentists aren't trained. Dental colleges skipped kind of telling you, and maybe we should go and let them know. Maybe we should go get our money back. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. So when it comes to doing the credentialing, you want to make sure that you're registered first, so that way the government and the medical insurances or Medicare sees you as a doctor and not just a dentist. I make that distinction because for most other doctors as well, they're just seen as a resident, or they're not even fully registered until they become credentialed with the federal government. And in the same way, I think this is the biggest single thing that dentistry has missed, and why dentistry and medical is so separated. We can blame insurance, we can blame policy all day long, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're the ones that chose to be in this industry and chose to be in this situation in the first place. After all, nobody held a gun to our head and told us to go to dental school or told us to stay in dentistry, right? It's a choice that we make, and we just have to understand, first of all, that we made the choice, and second of all, the best thing that we should do is understand that we're in a very unique and dynamic field. More so than healthcare, this is the fastest growing, fastest moving, and I truly believe in the future we're going to see dental take the number one crowning spot in healthcare, as it should, because as people understand that 70% of all heart disease and breast cancer starts from the mouth, and actually 90% of all the things that we go to a doctor or a hospital for, we can affect or treat or prevent by dealing with the dental or the medical issues of the mouth first, then of course a lot of people are going to want to go to a dentist and get a relationship with a good one. Not just any dentist, but really that's why the dentists that do even a little bit better, you don't even have to go all the way, above the call of duty, but even if you just do a little bit better than the person down the street or the other people in the industry, you're going to have a waiting list out your door. And that's how, my practice is at the one I worked at right before, I started working with other clients, is we had at least this 3 to 6 month waiting list for our patients, because we had a very specialized service that only we offered. And on top of that, we did it really well. We had really good customer service, and we had really good reviews and relationships, with our patients, with our people in our community. So I say that to say that when it comes to doing dental practices, there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a bunch of consulting courses, clinical. So this isn't going to get into any clinical, but the number one thing that I see after traveling and working with hundreds of dentists, thousands that we've spoken to, the number one thing that I find is the clinical, there's varying amounts, but the clinical is overall pretty good. The number one missing thing is the admin part, and mostly because the dentist is the owner, and if a dentist is a good clinician, rarely does anybody have the time to master something as complicated and as knowledge intensive as the clinical work of dentistry, and also have the time and the energy to practice, good administrative skills, good business skills, and everything else involved on the front end of dentistry. It's really hard to switch and wear all of these different hats and still be able to produce. I mean, it was okay back in the day when, we weren't on a clock and you can just see 2 or 3 patients a day, and you can just slowly, people would wait for an hour in the waiting room. things were different back then. But now, when everything is just now, go, 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 we want to make sure that we have systems in place, and the patients, they want that as well. So the number one system that we're going to be talking about is medical integration for your dental practice and as a dentist. Now, this doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to receive all the Medicare patients, and this has nothing to do with dentistry. So what this has to do with is you working with and collaborating with the other doctors, the other primary care physicians, so that way you can provide the best care for your patient. And if that sounds like a little bit more work, well, I used to try to sugarcoat this, but you're a doctor. And I'm just going to say it more clearly even. You're in one of the most regulated industries. If more work and doing things the right way wasn't what you did it for, then yeah, you're in the wrong industry. I mean, all you have to do is make a couple of videos on YouTube or, buy a crypto or two if you want to make money. But if you're in dentistry, you're clearly not in it just to make money. There's a million other ways to make money. You're in it because you want to help people, or you really love dentistry, or maybe you just ended up stuck here and now it's kind of too late, or you feel it's too late to turn around. By the way, it's never too late. But the reason why I say that is because medical billing and getting paid from medical insurances, everybody focuses on that when you see other people talk about it. And I think that's the exact problem why so many people are getting into trouble in the first place. So what you want is you want to set your practice up where medical billing or getting paid from medical payers is just an end result or a side effect of the work that you're doing the right way, completely and accurately. Now, what that can mean for you in your dental practice is taking a $261 bone graft and turning it into a $5,400 check every single time you do it. And when I first heard about this stuff, when I was trained at the second practice that I was worked at, I really thought that this was only something that you see few and far between. Like out of every 10 patients, maybe 20% or 30% of patients were affected by this, or could qualify. But I was really surprised. This dental practice that I was working at, 9 out of 10 patients that came through that door, we were able to use their Medicare or their medical insurance, because this practice in particular, they had a reputation. And once we started helping a few of these patients with Medicare and medical insurance, they started sending their brother, their sister, their family, their friend, their bingo partner, and it really just snowballed from there. So it's not a long journey. The road to being a dentist and the learning the clinical skills is, but we've gotten really good at this. And that over the last 4 or 5 years of helping, I would say over a couple hundred dentists get started, get credentialed, and do medical billing. We've trained over 800 or so dentists all across the nation to understand what this is. And our next big mission, our next big push is to educate not only practices, not only the dental practice and the admin side, but we're helping the admin reach out into and start gathering or collecting patients and doing this nurse triage or this pre-dental check. So that way we can get more patients that are knowledgeable about the work that we do and this new way of practicing dentistry. I mean, this is the right way. This is the way the top 1 or 3% of dentists are practicing. And it's just most people don't know how to do it. And even among that top 1 or 3%, there is a lot of different ways to do it. But I would say that when it comes to understanding how to do medical integration the right way, you want to work with a team that's been experienced. And by the way, there's a lot of copycat companies out there. If anybody asked you to bill with us, you should probably do some research on them and realize there's a lot of copycat companies that they think that they're doing things right, but they don't have a team, they don't have credentialing, they may not even have a license or the proper experience to protect you if things go wrong. So that's it in this video. You just want to be credentialed as a medical billing or medical integrated dentist, and that is really the key to the future. I'll get into other videos where I break down more of exactly why you want to do this, why this is the number one most important thing. But if 36,000 patients brand new every day isn't enough incentive for you, I mean, that makes it the number one plan, not just by benefit and coverage, because they don't cap it to $1,500 a year. We're talking about unlimited coverage and no pre-authorizations, as it should be. There shouldn't be any nurse practitioner hundreds or thousands of miles away inside a building that's not even seeing the patient, dictating or commanding you to do treatment or not to do treatment as a doctor. It just doesn't make sense at all. And actually, that should be illegal, but that's a different point. So go ahead and if you want more information, I have a link down below where you can get a guide. It's free and it will explain to you either a case study and a little bit more information of how you get medically integrated and what are the first steps and what does it look like. What can you expect, throughout this whole process? So if that sounds like something that you want, just go ahead and find it down below, and I'll go ahead and see you in the next video.